Hello, Print for Pay Hotel members and anybody else who's watching today. We're here with Mike Laverty, and Mike is from, Mike, where are you from again? Colony, right?
Colony Business Systems in Lancaster, and it's Laverty, in case anybody cares.
Yeah, everybody cares, right? And we're going to take up about 25 minutes of your time today, and we're going to ask Mike we're going to ask him to give up the ghost on a few items and tell us how things are. So, Mike, how long you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry about 13 years. I started in April of 2008.
All right, and your territory is?
Basically, we say South Central PA, so Lancaster County, the state capital, Harrisburg, York, that surrounding blast zone. So the capital region and then the surrounding collar counties, basically.
Okay. Do you get down into Gettysburg at all?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I've got a couple customers down that way that I make my way down to.
Okay.
Not a whole lot to call on down there.
Just a lot of farmland?
Yeah, and battlefields.
Yeah, right. So what lines do you currently represent?
Yeah, we're Canon and HP. We're a full line Canon dealer, production, wide format, scanners, copiers. And then HP, we're just the copiers, PageWide A3s. And I mean, we can get some of the A4s, but we'd rather go with Canons for the A4s, and that's the realm.
How do you like the PageWide A3s?
They're okay. I mean, we haven't put a whole lot of them out there just because we haven't found the right niche for them. Quite honestly, we've got a few out there at a company or an organization that everybody knows in our area doing promotional type work, but they're expensive. In this particular realm, they're doing a lot of coverage, so it's really killing our maintenance on the inks. But just general print, I think they're decent, but we haven't sold a ton of them for me to have a opinion one way or the other strongly.
Right. So the ink cost is definitely more than toner.
Oh my God, yeah. Especially with this customer, they're doing heavy coverage, heavy coverage of ink. So it's killing us. Interesting.
And that was supposedly HP's one of HP's saviors to the A3 marketplace, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good product. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I think I didn't sell it. I've handled the account now. I'm cleaning up a little bit with it, but the previous rep that sold it maybe didn't sell them the right machine for the application, just because of what they're doing with regard to the total coverage on the paper. They're just blowing through ink like it's soda.
Got it. Are the HP A3s, are they traditionally less expensive than the A3 toner based? Or are they similar?
They're similar. Yeah. I mean, they kind of got that concept of what you've been banging the drum about with speed licenses, though they're not interchangeable like a lot of us want.
Right.
They're similar in price. I think it's just tough to get toner out of your blood and put ink in it, is my opinion. It's just, they're just different, is my opinion of it.
Got it. So you guys doing anything with any other services such as managed IT, content, backup?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. We found a niche in small business IT. So we've got a couple guys on staff that are really good technical people and are trained that way from IT school or YTI type things. But we don't sell full-blown IT services. That's just not our niche. But there's some small accounts that we've done well in just kind of steering them on the right track and offering them kind of like a management consultant type role for what they need and how they need to set up their backups.
Right. And smaller type account will be like from 1 to 25 employees, or
I would even say like really it's like 8 employees and under. We found a good niche with professional services firms, accountants, and not so much accountants, but like lawyers. There's in a couple of the different counties in the county seats, there's always those little collection of law offices around that are 1- and 2-man bands. So, the most recent one we ran into was they had 3 different computers backing up to 3 different 3 different cloud services. So just kind of selling them a block of time to consult them on, here, look, you guys are going to pay the subscription for whether it was Dropbox or one of those cloud services. You know, here's where the best way to go is. You set it up, but we'll get everything pointing that way for you. So
Right.
Not making sure that they're compliant through the legal side of things, but just basic backups and operations of how to do things is what we've found some success with.
Good. Where do you focus your efforts on? Is it SMB, majors, production, or do you run the whole gamut?
Yeah, the whole gamut, honestly. I mean, it's you and I were talking a little bit ahead of this meeting just about sales reps and representation and accounts that we've called on over our time. So, I mean, I put in like a little $2,500 machine last week, and you know, a $70,000-$80,000 digital press the week before that we're adding some finishing to next week. So, you know, everywhere in between. Our sweet spot, you know, if we could, is 25 machines or less, because you're still getting there in front of someone that kind of wants to make a decision, not just bid it out and go with the cheapest price. So,
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, honestly.
How's the last 3 months been for you?
Not terrible, a little bit slow. I mean, it's been weird again. People started to do things, and then just as they started to do things kind of dried up, and then the 4th of July hit. So, you know, April we had some activity, May we had some good activity. A lot of orders placed in May and the beginning of June. A lot of orders went to back order May, beginning of June. And now we're seemingly picking up a little bit, but again, we're running into that. The next person I need to talk to is on vacation, and then I'm on vacation after that type spiel. So
Right.
It's been interesting, but we're slugging along.
Yeah. Hey, since we're in a post-pandemic environment now, is there anything different you guys are doing to find net new opportunities?
Back to the streets. A lot of people were pushing Zoom meetings, sending emails with links to schedule a Zoom meeting, and people found that off-putting. I mean, I've had my reps, and myself included, I mean, I think it was back in August of last year, just going out and banging on doors, just testing the water. I mean, we're in an interesting area here where, you know, I'm not getting into that side of it, but there's people that didn't really care, didn't enforce masks, didn't believe in the virus. And then there was others that were completely work from home, still are, may stay that way. So banging doors and being back on the streets are resulting for us at this point.
And I got the exact opposite here in Jersey. The exact opposite. Very, very blue state. Matter of fact, I had an appointment at a municipality yesterday, and I walk up to the door, brand new building, masks required. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't worn a mask in 3 weeks. Do I have a mask?
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a mask in my bag, and I was able to get in and do the appointments. But you know, Jersey's just been.
We've had one or two. There's been one or two customers. I mean, the two that I've been in that have required masks or medical facilities, which I can kind of get behind because of the patients and the clientele coming and going. And for that reason, I still haven't taken all my masks out of the car. I think I got like one in my car or something like that. But you know, you're right. It's interesting everywhere you go and who's there and what they're enforcing.
Right. So basically, it's back to pre-pandemic work for finding net new business.
Block and tackle, just like it had been pre-pandemic. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess you're in 2 roles, right? You're still selling, but you're a manager, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys, or do you have I like to say a Midas Touch for, I mean, something that gets you the appointment more often than not, either when you're cold calling or in person or when you're on the phone?
For me personally, I think it's my my charm. I mean, I had this
Good
conversation
one.
with someone the other day. No, it's the genuineness of it. You know, there's a lot of different companies in our neck of the woods banging on doors out here and trying to get appointments. And when we get in, the sales, a couple of my sales team members, and even the president, when we bring him along, I mean, we're genuine people. We don't have that sales ooze that a lot of people do. I mean, I've been told at several of my installs over the last couple of months, when I asked the question at net new, why'd you go with me? Like, I don't know where I fell on the price spectrum, but like, why'd you go with me? And most of the time it's been that we were a little bit more expensive, but we conveyed the confidence in them that we knew our product, we knew how to handle them, we made them feel that they were valued, and we didn't try and jam the clothes down their throat like some of these other people did. So I know some of the people that I was competing against, and they're, you know, old copier dogs like you and I, and those old tricks just aren't received as well as they used to be. So it's just being genuine and being a human and a normal person with them.
Yep. Very true. And one of the best things you can do is when you do get that net new account is go back and ask them. Say, hey, why'd you do business with us? It's a great question to ask, because it can help you moving forward with other net new accounts, and especially when they say, you know, you took more of a consultative approach. And you know, it was just more attuned to you listen to our needs instead of, like you said, to shove something down our throat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So with your products, is there any certain like feature or third-party app that you're trying to mention? At least get it out there to everybody.
It's a standard one. I'm looking at my notes because I just it's been a day. Yeah, I mean, it's the Canon Business Print app. A lot of people through the pandemic didn't want to touch their machines and wanted to know how to operate it without it. So Canon kind of did a good move with their Canon Print Business or Business Print app, where you can, as long as you're on the same network, that's the part you have to explain to people as well. But from your cell phone with this app, you can put your documents in the feeder and scan it back. So it's essentially the copier screen on your phone for scanning or for printing. So there's that. And then also just the remote capabilities of these Canons. You know, there's ImageWare Remote. I forget what Rico calls it as well, but it's got the ability to remotely report meter reads, remotely report diagnostics. So our service technicians are able to look at the machines. Our service manager is able to look at it and proactively place a service call. And as they go to place the service call, because the customers notice the fifth time it's jammed or the error code that comes up, I'd say 75% of the time we already know that. And the service manager or the service dispatcher whom they might speak with has said, yep, we've already got a call placed in the system. Somebody will be out whenever, you know, they're scheduled to be out there. So that, and I mean, we've started to see a little bit more of a demand for our paperless office, enterprise content management, document management solution. We use global search from Square 9.
Right.
There's a lot more conversation about it, especially in the cloud-based format. We've had some preliminary meetings with a number of organizations that just now are starting to budget and have now the internal discussions of what it looks like to convert more paperless to the cloud. So just moving ahead with some things that they should.
And is that more of those companies that are preparing for that? Is that more of a plan for if and when the next pandemic happens, or the next time everybody has to be remote?
I think it's just kind of an, oh shit, we didn't plan for this the last time it happened.
Right.
And now, yeah, I mean, moving forward, I mean, because there's a number of them that just utilize, which is a fine way of doing it, but the folder structure on the server, I mean, through your network folder, that's worked for years. And then as soon as everybody got optioned home and you didn't have your stuff available offline, you were SOL. So, you know, it's moving ahead with some of that as well.
Right. So I guess the buzzword for the entire summer, inventory.
Before I even quoted a guy a color printer today, I had to text my Canon rep to find out if they had them in stock because he needs one. I just sold a scanner last Friday to a customer that they're doing like 10,000 pages a day.
Right.
So it's like a $7,000 Canon document scanner. 6 weeks it's on back order for.
Damn.
I've got an order that I placed at the end of May for a Canon's new TZ wide format. I mean, it's the hottest thing since sliced bread apparently, but it's not available until August. So yeah, I mean, inventory sucks, but inventory sucks for a lot of places. If you drive by a lot of your car dealers, there's lots are empty. Trying to get hard drives. My buddy has a server that he backs up for streaming movies and stuff that we can tap into. He can't find a hard drive because they're being bought up by some crypto mining. So back orders is like the buzzword of the summer. You're right.
Right. Right. I heard something the other day about a manufacturer. I'm not going to mention names, but they took all their chip production, and instead of putting it into just a mix of both A3 and A4, they put it all into A3. Thus the reason why they're waiting 6 to possibly 10 weeks for A4s now.
Yeah.
And they don't see the issue being resolved until early 2022.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't know. We're probably on the same wavelength with the manufacturer, but yeah, I've heard that as well, that it's
crazy. You know, it seems like it's one thing after another
yeah,
for us, right?
yeah, definitely some price increases that have come across. I know you've reported on that.
Yeah.
And those I can get behind that a little bit. I mean, nobody likes a price increase. It sucks, but the cost to ship a container is quadrupled, I've read. I mean, if you're in a pinch and you need to get one container out of China, it's upwards of like 25 grand. I mean, it's wild how much they're
What it used to be $5,000.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing. So, you know, I just was on a talk track with a service manager today, and you know, I'm big on MFP security, and I think that if you know, the machines are older than 7 years old, I firmly believe companies have a risk on their network. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I mean, I agree. I've sat through, talked with the manufacturers, both Canon and HP, about the security of the devices. I mean, that is the buzzword in the industry, and you know, all of the top manufacturers have been playing me too when it comes to, you know, the security of their devices. It's just tough when if a customer leases their equipment, it's easy because you can just flip them.
Right.
But when they own it, I mean, I'm in an area where people buy their stuff and own it, and that's to me, again, going back to the question from earlier about what's my Midas Touch. I mean, while MFP security is real, that's almost to me feels a little scare tactic-ish to come back and get them to upgrade. But at the same time, there's quantifiable answers as to like why they should based off of their network security. And I don't know, it's tough when someone's got a hitching post outside for horse and buggies to try and tell them that someone's going to hack their network. So it makes it interesting, but it's also difficult because people are getting hit more and more. I mean, the ones that should care the most about security, we had a customer we installed a fleet of HPs in, and luckily those things kind of do a self-healing, if you will, and update firmware to the latest security patches and whatnot. But they got hit by a crypto locker and had to rebuild everything. And when we started to talk to them about other security parameters, their answer was just kind of like, yeah, okay, like I'm not concerned about my copiers, I'm still concerned about my network. And I'm like, but that is your network. So
it's an endpoint.
Yeah, I think until someone big gets hit by a hacker that's been proved that it got in through the back door through an MFP,
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult for anybody to kind of sell that.
I posted something on the Pray for Pay Hotel today that I think that as much as managed IT companies have disclaimers that if you don't take like the cybersecurity insurance, we're not going to be held liable for a ransomware or malware event.
Yeah.
I firmly think that after 7 years on a maintenance agreement on a copy machine, I think that should go into a copy or maintenance agreement.
Yeah.
At least you're saying, hey, there's a risk.
And you'd have to figure out too, like when the manufacturer cuts off support, what that cutoff of support is. Is it the technical side of things? Can we still get firmware updates and things like that?
Usually 7 years.
Yeah.
Usually,
yeah, exactly.
Yep, usually 7 years.
I mean, there's definitely some merit in that for sure.
Yeah, I believe so. But again, everybody else, we all face it. We've got sometimes we got 7, 8, 10-year-old machines in the field, and they're still doing well.
Yeah, April was the oldest machine I ever knocked out. It was 18 years old. Yeah.
So that was 2003.
Yeah. It was installed late 02. It had like a PDL print kit, so it could print.
Right.
And he mainly copied with it and had a little desktop MFP for scanning and faxing. I mean, it was wild. It worked up until we couldn't get the part to fix it, basically, like the month before that.
Damn. So now that we're in a post-pandemic environment,
sure.
How do you feel about meetings?
Let's have them.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I've got
a hybrid, and the reason I ask that because I know how much more productive I was during the pandemic by not having to travel an hour away, an hour back. You'd have your 35-minute meeting, a virtual, and then you'd be on to the next meeting. I think you even spoke about one time suggesting maybe having the first meeting in person, and then additional meetings could be virtual.
Yeah, and it's been a mixed bag too. I mean, there's been some where whether we have online or a telephone meeting, I mean, we're all trying to ask the same questions. I know we need to see things, and that's good as well. Seeing the person helps. But yeah, I mean, there is merit in the travel time, the windshield time that you can avoid, which is always good. So yeah, I mean, I think we've just met with a lot of people through all this. Like we've met in person. I've always tried to plan my morning or afternoon around that appointment, whether I'm stopping in to see a couple customers in that area that I haven't in a while, or bang on some doors, or you're right. I mean, wasting the time and turning around and coming back to the office to finish what I was doing.
Right.
The virtual meetings definitely have helped with that for some time savings for sure.
Right. So here's another good question for you. If you were the king of the copier industry, what's one feature you would add? Oh
yeah, definitely. And I even thought about this one some more since the last time we talked. Better wheels and handling control. I'm sure it's nothing crazy. Like, give us better wheels on these things. It's as the race to zero happens and these machines get much more sophisticated, the wheels just suck. Like, give us a little bit better. I mean, when we're pushing them over carpet and bricks and thresholds, like elevators, they're little and tiny, and if there was a way to make them a little bit more robust, I mean, I'm not talking off-road wheels, but something in between breakable casters and Michelins would be good. Right, or maybe some additional hand grips. I remember on some of the older copiers, they would have hand grips that would actually retract from the base of the machine, make it a little bit easier. Yeah, I still have some of those, because we still, from time to time, they'll ask for, if we're in vacation season and they need help getting some machines on a cabinet and I'm here, they'll say, hey, can you come help us? But yeah, I mean, that's some of the things too. I mean, the hand grips aren't great. I mean, maneuvering them isn't great. One of our warehouse guys the one time tried to figure out, can we use the tow motor, because he had seen it done, to just kind of lift it up and put it on its base, because some of these machines now, these A3 units, are 400, 500, 600 pounds, so they're not light. And if they give you 4 handles, that's cool, but like, who's putting it on the base? So the handles aren't level on the machine, so he couldn't use the tow motor to lift it up and put it down. He would have had to have strapped it, and then that just got into a whole different ball game that we said, no thanks, don't do that, man. So yeah, I mean, just the getting them onto their base, their cabinet, whatever you're going to put them on, and the handling of the wheels would be a godsend.
Right. So what's one piece of knowledge that you'd like to impart on new reps, either, I guess, brand new reps, or even some of the reps who've been around for a year or two?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I picked up from you, but it's, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I mean, you got to keep working and never stop grinding, never turn it off, but don't get cheesy and salesy. I mean, you have to be genuine and accepted. You know, whether my example is, we moved into a new neighborhood in the fall, and at Easter, they had this like fun run around the neighborhood, and we didn't really know a lot of the neighbors. And my first question or after is what your name is what do you do for a living? Where do you work? And my wife has just gotten kind of used to that now. And I was very surprised at who lives in my neighborhood now and what they do and where they work and what their titles are. So,
right.
And it's just that then you get into that conversation, but I don't even steer it I tell them where I work, but then I talk about what I do volunteer wise. So, I mean, never stop grinding, never turn it off, always keep hustling, but also give back too. I think that's kind of changed since the last time I thought about this and did my notes, is just, you got to find a way. A lot of the younger professionals are just so driven on the almighty dollar, which is great. We all have to make money and want to make money and have a good living, but you got to give back a little bit too. I mean, I've always been involved, whether it's coaching youth, volunteering. I serve on the board for a special needs little league here in the county.
Right.
I mow the grass at a women's shelter, like just doing stuff. If you're able-bodied and can, do it. Don't write them. Write them a check because they need money too, but sweat equity goes a long way in making you feel good and, you know, giving us.
And the giving back actually does give good karma, right? Because, you know, as you stated, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And as long as you continue to work hard, you never know what tomorrow will bring you.
100%. Yeah. You never know who's watching and who you're working with. And
and that's a great thing about selling, or a great thing about sales. So that's the end of our meeting, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching. We're on with Mike Laverty today from Colony, and if you've liked what you've seen with the video, like the content, by all means hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, and we're looking forward to having another one of these next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good one, Art.
Hey, Mike, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you and family have a great summer.
Same to you. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.